was sleeping. Another night was going by just fine. Feeling a little crabby about how my meals had been corrupted. I guess that is what it is. When I got up, I had myself a meal. It also was corrupted. And I got to the business of ripping down some blocks nearby. Next up, some camel needed to be trained again. Followed by the dog. It's getting to be a full-time job dealing with these guys. I hauled a bunch of stuff inside. Spent some more time with the camel. And then I got back to deconstructing the walls nearby so I could pull enough material, build myself some proper defenses. After working for a bit, I went and sat down to relax. It's nice to take a few minutes, just enjoy some peace and quiet. Not thinking about animals or walls at the time. And when I got up, it's time to train that camel again. Somebody contacted me. Some items were stashed nearby. Wasn't much chance I was going to deal with that. Plus there were plenty of items right here in this city. I trained camels, pulled down walls, periodically stopped to have a meal, get stuff hauled around where it belongs. There were supplies everywhere. Did a little bit of hauling, see if I could get the place tidied up. And then I was back to ripping down walls. Tried to train the dog with some pineapple, but he wasn't too into that. And then it was time to hit the hay. When I got up, another meal was in order, followed by spending some more time with the dog. I kept failing, but Butter would get it eventually. I also had to spend some time with the camels, see if I could get them trained up. At least have them listen to me when I talk to them. They periodically needed milking as well, which was decent. It would make a good meal. One that I didn't feel like was tainted probably. And after that I ripped down a ton of walls just to the north. Someone contacted me saying they were being chased, wanted me to help them out. Turns out though, there was a whole lot of people chasing after them, so I couldn't help them. Worked on the walls and then I played some chess for a while. I was getting sick of that other board game. I sat and putzed, not knowing much of what I was doing, but it was fun. And then it was back to working with the camel. I was having no luck with that. I worked with the dog, and then I got back to ripping down some walls. I was finally getting close to being about done with that. I hauled in supplies, and I hit the hay for the day. When I woke up, I did some cleaning. My stove had apparently broken down. And one of the camels needed some tending. Turns out he had asthma. Some pemmican fell down out of the sky, which was pretty good. I was looking for some traveling food. If I had to get out of here in a hurry, that'd be useful. While I was picking up the pemmican, some visitors showed up. I was hauling stuff around, putting wood and pemmican away. Then I repaired the stove, in case I needed to use it at some point here. And then I went to see if I could trade with these people. They were interested in that alien vest I'd found. And I sold them some pants, some weapons. Bought all their pemmican as well. Decided I'd better haul that before one of these animals gets over there and eats it. Had a decent little stockpile of pemmican going now. Wouldn't get me too far, but maybe I wouldn't need to go too far. Solar flare started at that point, but it didn't much bug me. I was pulling up floors. A transport pod crashed nearby, and lo and behold, it was my sister. I was insanely ecstatic to see her. I hadn't even been aware she got off the old planet, but she actually made it. She must have been on our ship to have ended up here as well. So I ran on down there to rescue her. Just chatting, jabbering away. Some alien artifacts were nearby, so I was going to take those. One of them looked like it was worth a right good amount of money. I got Katya back, and we were chatting. I tried my best to tend her up. Didn't have the best of success. But anything's better than nothing. I tidied up her sleeping room. Then I decided to take a walk. Being that I was feeling pretty happy. I haven't seen my sister. So I walked around. Then I ran down, grabbed those supplies. Turns out that bow is pretty spectacular. Not sure if anybody's ever going to afford to buy it off me. Seems to me like it's worth quite a pretty penny. But we'll see. After that I was off to bed, and when I woke up I had some pemmican. I fed Katya a meal. She wasn't happy. I shouldn't have mentioned they were tainted, in all honesty. She was still pretty beat up. She was trying to get up and put on some new pants. Decided she'd better go lay down instead. I was hauling stuff around and working with Butters. Not having any luck though. After that, it was ripping up floor time. I was getting close to having all these things done. Some cargo pods crashed nearby. Looked like some marijuana joints in there to me. So I headed on over. Something like that to help a guy relax. Deal with some of the stresses around here. I got those brought back. And I did some floor removal. And then it was time to teach Butter something again. Which once again, I didn't have any luck. But the floors are peeling up pretty quick. I fed Katya a meal. And then she decided she wanted more. She jumped up. Decided she was going to go on a food binge. Which I guess was alright. Helped me eat through all that alien food sooner rather than later. I had a whole dromedary laying there waiting to be slaughtered anyway. Or butchered, I should say. So I went back to ripping up floors. I was working with Butter when he decided to go to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I did some cleaning. Went and grabbed a chair. So Katya and I would both have a chair. And then I sat and had a meal in it. Followed by tossing some stones in my hoopstone ring. It was disgusting outside, so I decided to tidy up a bit. Can't be living like this, man. What are guests gonna think? When I was done with that, I fed Katya a meal. Went and worked with Butter some more. I actually had some success for once. It's nice to see that. Turns out Butter's a smart dog, though. Just a little stubborn. Plus, I'm by no means a dog trainer. I planned on ripping up some more floors in the south. And I got near a good chunk of it done. Tried to work with Butter again and failed. Katya got up. She'd been doing a crazy amount of cleaning around here, which I highly supported, so I decided to do some cooking. We could certainly use the meals. I didn't want to eat that pemmican. I was trying to hang on to it. So I cooked a bunch of meals and then I was off to bed. Katya was just wandering around. She decided to set herself up a bedroom, so I decided to let her for now. And I was sleeping the whole time. She was bringing beds, dressers and stuff over. When I woke up, it's time to do a little more meal cooking, followed by some cleaning. Don't want a dirty kitchen. Next up, Butter needed attention once again. I didn't have any material with which to try and train those dromedaries, so I couldn't really do any work with them. But on the plus side, I was getting a lot of other stuff done. Made a few more meals. Then I decided to sit down, chill out, smoke one of them joints that had fallen out of the sky. think about doing some cleaning. And after all that was done, I fed Katya a meal, gathered up the meals, get them put away properly, and some blocks needed to be moved outside to clear up some space for the inside. I'd set that rotten insect meat outside, thinking maybe the dog would eat it. I had some success training Butter. Next up, figuring out how to haul. That was going to be fantastic. And then I had myself a meal. After that, I got back to the business of pulling up floors. It occurred to me there was a lot of trees around here, maybe some of which were bearing fruit. I was going to have to take a look around. Maybe I could actually find some food for the camels. Get back to training them. But for now, it was bedtime. Turns out the camels were starving. I was going to have to figure something out. I was feeling pretty good, despite a little bit of hunger, which I could take care of when I awoke. And that's exactly what I did. Decided to feed some meals to the camels, see if I could keep them alive. I was kind of desperate here. They were rather malnourished. They couldn't even stand up as it was. So I fed them. I got to the business of ripping up some floors, hauling some floor material around, and then working with Butter. The meals seemed to revive the dromedaries. 2 of them anyway. One of them was still laying there starving to death. They were looking pretty skinny. Maybe I'd get out of here just so I didn't lose those things. At the very least, I guess I can butcher them for food. I had to milk a dromedary, and I hauled a bunch of wood. And then I decided to cook a meal. Use that milk right away before it goes bad. Then I was working with Butter, and then once again had some success, training him to haul. Mealtime was after that, followed by ripping up the last of the floors in the south. That just left a little section in the north, so I got to work on that. The dromedaries had gone down due to hunger, so I fed one a meal. It's a little disappointing. There's too many mouths to feed. There's no food coming in around here. Finished the last of the floor pulling up. Next morning when I got up, I noticed Katya was wandering around. Seemed like she was wandering off. She didn't say anything, she just left. I'm not sure really what her issue was. I laid down, watched the sunrise. The animals were swarming around me. Turns out she just up and left. I kind of panicked at that point, thinking I better go track her down. So I made plans to get on out of here, see if I could figure out where she went. I was gonna just head down the road. Looked like she'd been heading west. Hopefully she didn't wander into the desert. I was gonna have to find her, see what became of her. So I started loading up the critters, see what I could take with. And while I was doing that, a bunch of pirates popped down out of the sky, started setting up a little base. At the same time, a whole nother force of them decided to come on over, get into a fight with me. Turns out, that bow I'd found, some kind of crazy artifact, and everybody was after it. I had to stop loading up the animals, stop to deal with these people. There was a whole mess of them, man. They came in force. I was well armored, so I decided to take some risks. Didn't really have much choice. So I started shooting up the first one. One of them was chucking grenades. There were people shooting at me. I killed the one that was shooting at me. Started trying to figure out how to take care of the next one. One of their guys threw a grenade right in the middle. Ended up killing one of them. He chucked another grenade. Killed another one. They got wary of the grenades and started dodging them. It was pretty easy for me to dodge them. I was getting shot up pretty good. I kept running, trying to find a spot from which to shoot. See if I could make them bugger off. I dropped another one. They'd blown a big hole in my house. Turns out I should have got that security up sooner, I suppose. They were all rushing on in there to see what they could find. I decided to go through the back way. One of them was just blowing up my bedroom for no reason. Hitting my vents. All that stuff. I found a nice spot to sit. I have a shootout with one over my research table that I never got to use. One of the camels got in the way. He started shooting at the camel instead of me. And I dropped him. The camel had been shot, but not too bad. The rest of them decided to take off. And I decided to keep loading these critters up. There were bombs falling on my head from the first group that had showed up. Man, things were just insane. I was leaving that bow. It was worth too much. It was going to be too much of a hassle. I certainly didn't need that right now. I ran around, doing the best I could to load up these camels. As the bombs were falling out of the sky, it was a damn good thing I decided to leave when I did. The whole place caught on fire. Turns out, catch you leaving was some kind of blessing. Holy cow, man. It was intense. But eventually, I was on the road. They stayed. They brought a bunch of meals they kept eating. Lobbing bombs. Burning the whole city down. The place I'd built. All the stuff I'd made. That pemmican came in real handy. I tended to myself and to that camel while we were out on the road. My house is burning down. They were all sleeping in the dirt. Wasn't much I could do to save anything. And I was gone, man. I was finding traces of Katya around. I just forgot about that home, man. I was never going back there. I wandered on down the road, somewhere safe. Hopefully they wouldn't find me. And decided to set up a new place. Somewhere a little more peaceful. Wouldn't attract so much attention. And when I got there, I started chopping down trees. I was going to have to make some walls, some doors. Found a little place I could live. Which looked like it'd be pretty nice, actually. So I built walls and doors. Planned on getting my stuff put in there. I ended up falling asleep in the dirt. I was so tired. But I woke up. Did some tree chopping. Remembered I had some drugs that would keep me awake for a while. Decided to take some of that. And I was feeling energized. So I finished up the room, put a roof over it, and started hauling my stuff in. I was going to set up my bedroll in there as well. That'd be useful. I also decided I'd better get all this stuff hauled in. Don't want these guns laying around in the rain. So I started carrying stuff in, and it didn't take too long. I got it all in. Had to work with the dromedary a little bit. There was plenty of food here for them so they wouldn't starve. I just had to remember to take care of the dog. I tied it up. The animals were coming into place, making a big mess. For the minute, I had a ton of trees to chop down. I was going to need some supplies. Build some kind of perimeter wall around here, so nobody shows up and tries to bomb me dead again. Hopefully they found that bow. They forget about me and just keep that thing. Turns out, the city has all kinds of perils I wasn't even aware of. I made a spot for the animals to sit. And found some cherries nearby, so I harvested those. I tended the asthma on the camel. Maybe I'd butcher that guy. Somebody contacted me at that point, saying they were being chased. Only one person after him. I decided I'd help him out. Troutwine was his name. I was harvesting some peaches. That person chasing after Troutwine showed up. So, decided we'd have to deal with that. We were going to wait for him. Come to us. I was training a camel. But it turns out my animals had gone running that way when they realized the person was over there. So while I was setting up a nice little defense, that person started shooting my critters. And that's not cool. So I ended up having to run down there and see if I could rescue him. The dog had been shot a couple times. And he started shooting at the camel. Turns out, she was a pretty good shot. Troutwine was going to run on in, just give her the business with his fists. I still had my chain shotgun. Despite the short range, it was pretty powerful. I was going to have to get closer to avoid shooting Troutwine too bad. They were fighting in a big rock pile. It looked like she was getting the upper hand too. But they were duking it out. I was blasting her good. Seemed like the fight went on forever, man. Like an hour. It was nuts. Both of them were pretty well beat up. But eventually, Troutwine dropped her. And he picked up her gun, picked up her silver as well. I would have liked to chat to that guy, but he got it in his head to get on out of here. Which is fine with me. He was pretty well beat up, but he wasn't gonna die. I had to tend my dog, which I didn't do too great of a job at. While doing so, I just had a break. Once again, couldn't keep it together. Was wandering around. Just kind of lost. Not feeling anything really. Numb, I'd say. Never even got my rice planted. Lightning storm had started a big fire. That was burning pretty well around here. When I came to, I decided to hit the hay. It had been an intense couple days. I was hungry, tired. My sister disappeared. Troutwine had left. Things are pretty rough at the minute. I'd have to get back to work come tomorrow. Hopefully this fire didn't get too close to me. Another super busy couple days had passed, and the future was looking like it was going to be even busier. Setting up a place to live and be safe. For now, that was all I could do to sleep.